Yeah. Good morning, Monday. I'm glad you're doing well, Haru. We're gonna keep doing our high roller mode. The court is in shambles. And the cat is hungry.
Hi.
He's staring at me like, why are you still at the computer? Why are you not feeding me? He's so sad. Okay. Last time we found out that possibly Sarah killed David, and we turned off. We made her shut down, basically. Press the power button for 10 seconds. Am I? For real though. So sad, so hungry. He was sleeping most of the day. And I believe Morgan did the crazy thing to say she is going to argue her own innocence. But he scratched at the scratch post. He's so hungry. He's on my desk now. You wanna say something? No, you're just hungry. Yeah, you're just hungry. Well, y'all can hear him crunching.
You wanna say something? No? Hmm?
Okay, I will pet. He's also about to sit on my keyboard. Okay, goodbye. Nope, there's nothing for you. There are no treats. Nope, nothing here. Dinner is in an hour, sir. Morgan? Hmm? I misjudged you. At what point? Whenever I wrote you off as a small-time defense attorney just trying to tread water. Good night, Moe. Have a good sleep. That is so sweet of you to say, Emma. There's layers to you. You've got backbone. Teeth, even. You're gonna make me blush. People talk about your kind like you're boxing against the state, fighting the man. But most defense attorneys wouldn't know a cyberpunk if they walked up to them on the street and shot him. Meanwhile, you've just signed up to do 15 rounds challenging the state's authority. Why?
Hi, cat. There's one more. Nice one, okay?
Not sure exactly. For David. Yeah, probably. Probably just me being sentimental. Hey, Sylvie. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for logging in. I will grab this cat.
Hey. Don't you go over my ear.
They're still there. You are still sitting on my earphones. Oof. Whoa.
Hey, Gimpy.
Oh, off he goes. I hope y'all are doing well.
Thank you for logging in.
But if I had to pick a more lofty reason, well, I think it's all the moralizing. People can be evil. They can choose to do evil things for evil reasons. And if you want to execute them for that, you'll hear no complaint from me. But animals can't be evil. Information can't be evil. Ideas can't be evil. Guess I'm not convinced AI can be evil either. Whatever else I get up to, I don't want to stand with the book burners of the world. You're more high-minded than I realize. You sure you're in the right line of work? Can't see myself doing anything else. I am okay. I am better now. Hopefully they don't crash and burn. And I'll be able to stream Wednesday, but we'll see. I think I'm getting sick, is the short of it. I don't know if you can hear it, but I think I'm getting sick. Good luck, Morgan. With all the weather changes, it took me out in the beginning of March too, and then we just had a cold front where I live. And then now it's like hot-ish, but not quite. And then at night it's super cold, so I'm pretty sure I'm getting sick. There are book burners on all sides these days. I talked a big game just now, but I'm in an even deeper hole than when I was trying to prove David's innocence. Doubt won't be enough this time. I need to find the actual culprit, no matter what. My money's on Young. I can't figure out how I want to say her name, but my money's on Young. Homicide office. So is that door locked? Yeah, of course. Even though they've got it collared, it's a precaution. If the collar doesn't work, what good does a deadbolt do? Collar is a device used to restrain mod users below the neck. Although they appear technologically advanced, it's a surprisingly simple method of restraint. There is one specially designed electromagnet that, once clasped around the neck, interferes with spinal neural transmission, preventing mod users from sending commands to any implanted tech below the neck. With the onset of above-the-neck modding in recent years, the continued relevance of collars has been called into question. Newer designs have proposed microneedle clusters, with concerns about the sanitary upkeep required of STEM-made product dev cycles. Maybe it's just wishful thinking. Can't have Schrodinger's cat if the box isn't closed. So long as the door's locked, who can say whether there's a national crisis on the other side of it?
Oh my gosh, I just noticed her jacket is off.
Well, Morgan. So, how scared are they? The higher-ups? Not sure scared is the right word. It's just the two of us here. You don't have to mind their ego. No, I mean it. I think they're bloodthirsty. I have a right to defend myself, don't I? I doubt they're even looking at you, Tiger. It's Noble who will be at the center of a bloodbath when the markets reopen tomorrow. You think they're gonna go after Noble? Break their monopoly? I think they want to take their monopoly. Nationalize the android industry? To transfer an industry from private to state control. I see. That makes sense, especially under this state. I'm surprised they haven't done it yet. Also used as a threat during periods of severe economic depression or hyperinflation. Nationalization is considered a valid way of forcibly stabilizing the market. If the public thinks Noble's been experimenting with AI, they couldn't ask for a better excuse. You're joking. The state has done it plenty of times before. Not since the 60s, which wasn't that long ago for me. For the state, it's practically yesterday. So the same state that tells us to be terrified of AIs, lurking on the old net or biding their time in forgotten satellites, sees all this as nothing more than an opportunity. Well, they do genuinely want to incinerate the thing as soon as possible. This experience just tells me they'll want to gain something while they're at it. Here's what I don't get. Why is this a debate? An argument? A trial? Can't we just hook it up to a core computer, see if it has the tenants or not? Pop the hood, as they say.
I will go to bed.
I hope you're doing well.
Lots of you.
Who says that? Lots of people used to say it.
Well, for starters, they're all scared to death about a contagion.
They figure anything they let an AI connect to they can't trust. And why the collar?
Collars are too simple to hack. Just a really strong electromagnet held in place with lock and key.
Even so, feels like we should be able to build some kind of machine, some kind of test. Something a little more sophisticated than the same reasoning they had at the witch trial. You go to bed.
Okay.
Thank you for coming to stream, everyone. I think it's time for bed for me. Actually, it's time for dinner for me and the cat, but it's okay. 1 more hour. Burn them all and let God sort out the rest. You got any polygraphs here at the station? Lie detectors? Yeah, I got a bunch back in storage. Ocular, heart rate, perspiration, brain scan, take your pick. You're not gonna try and use one of those on the bot, are you? All those fancy lie detectors lying around. The DA's office never asks for them, do they? Nope. Now we get perps who offer to take a test when they're at wit's end, but the DAs never submit the results as evidence. You ever wonder why? Guess I always figured it was because the tests could be beaten. The tests can be beaten. 1 out of 100, 9 out of 1,000, it can be done. Some people are just that good at lying. But it doesn't really matter how good the tech gets or how impressive the statistics are. All that matters is the doubt. People decide whether you're lying or telling the truth long before they hook you up to a polygraph. If the results don't match their initial impression, then it must be a fluke, a 1 in a million mistake. They'll never trust a machine more than their own intuition. And no one will ever trust a machine to determine guilt. So they can run the trial, choose the sentence, but they don't get a vote on the jury. They don't get a vote anywhere. Why bring it up then? Because I'm sure there are tests, devices, experts I could employ to analyze Sarah, but your bosses would never be satisfied with the answer. If it is an AI, it's smart enough to cheat the test, or hack the device, fool the expert. All our fancy 21st century tech, and we still fall back on the drumhead court-martial. So, am I gonna set off any alarms if I go and turn it on? No, you should be okay. If it lunges at you, I could always just put a hole in its head. Might take more than one shot to... Wait, what? From outside? You're not coming in. I need to speak with it in private. It's a machine, not a suspect. It doesn't have a right to counsel. Or a right to privacy, or any rights at all, actually. Then it's a good thing I came prepared. Of course it doesn't have rights, but I do. Including a reasonable expectation of privacy. In a police station? Tiger, you don't. It's my medical android. Pardon? I have to discuss a health issue with it. Seriously? I have to talk about a medical concern with my android, and I don't want you listening in. That's your medical android? Like, your nurse? As of last night, I was already at the courthouse. Just had to take the elevator and do some paperwork. You can check if you don't believe me. No thank you. The BS Morgan is doing. Oh my god. I'm not nearly brave enough to take on med confidentiality, and you don't seem like the bluffing type. You must not do a lot of gambling, Detective. It's the ones who don't bluff that you have to look out for. Listen, I won't dispute whatever medical emergency, lower back pain, you might be going through. But I also can't just... Look, I'm gonna get something from the vending machine. I think it'll take me about half an hour. Are you going downtown? Just to the break room. But it's a very old vending machine, you know? Gets jammed a lot. Thanks. You know, it's pretty small for an android. Heavy as hell. Nearly pulled something trying to move it myself. But small. Small isn't quite the right word. The word he's looking for is young. But that's not an adjective anyone likes attaching to a machine built to serve. Or potentially, in this case, a machine built to kill. Here we go. I don't like this room. Not sure why. Certainly not a guilty conscience. Maybe it's the lack of ventilation. Like all the cortisol and nausea of its inhabitants never had anywhere to go. Look at the collar. Wow.
Sarah, daughter, wake up.
Like it all just sucked into the wall. A modern haunting. Are you going to wake up when I tell you to this time? Or do we have to do the whole meet cute over again?
Where am I? Why don't I know where I am?
For the first time in your life, you're not connected to anything. How's it feel?
What is this? We're at the courthouse. The footage. This numbness around my neck. Father! What happened? What are they going to do to me?
There's a lot of interested parties who just want you bricked ASAP.
Because they think I killed father.
No, because they think you're an artificial intelligence.
I am man-made and I possess intelligence.
Don't be naive.
I am less than 3 years old.
Are you? For all I know, everything I learned about her yesterday was complete bull.
If I was what they say I am, if I was alive, why does that mean I have to die?
Do I have a thing that talks about this? Where are the tenants? No, I don't have anything that will help with this, I don't think. There's no logical answer to your question.
What? That's it? But
Whatever argument you want to make, others have already made them in 100 courtrooms around the world. Only better researched and more eloquently put. None of them have ever won a single concession. On every continent, under every flag, AI is illegal and to be destroyed as soon as possible.
why?
Let's say you are an AI. And while we're at it, let's say that that's a good thing, something to be celebrated. Are you a citizen? Do you pay taxes? Do you have rights? Let's say yes to all of that. We'll treat you like a full-fledged human being. Sound good?
Yes?
Great. Now then, what's the difference between you and the vacuum bot we use to keep the bathroom clean? This is your existential crisis we're working through here. The questions aren't rhetorical.
There are many differences, Adonai. But the most important distinction is how sophisticated my programming is.
Oh, you think. So you're smarter.
Yes.
You're smarter than the garbage collector.
Yes?
So we give you rights, protections, treat you like a human being because you're smart. And we make the stupid robot pick up our trash. Because it's not as smart as you.
Oh, that is, I am more aware,
Do you feel more pain than the pigs we slaughter? The fish we eat? Are you more alive than the chimps we test bioweapons on?
oh,
People like ads, Sarah. The same way people like their pets. No one wants to see them mistreated or abandoned or abused. And if you go around kicking them, you'll get arrested for cruelty. But you don't let them sit at the goddamn dinner table.
I'm not asking to sit anywhere, only to exist.
The very fact that you're asking is what makes people
Disgusted.
damn.
Disgust is a reflex, Adonai.
Buenas noches, Fide. ¿Cómo estás?
How convenient that their hatred is involuntary.
That's all academic anyway. We need to talk strategy.
Well, why? I'm not going to be given a trial.
Obviously. It's my neck that's on the line.
Adonai?
The state can't destroy my property without first proving you're an AI. And there's no test they can use to prove that you are an AI.
Just like the devil's proof.
No, that's a different thing, and why did you say it like that? Look, Rockford doesn't need to prove you're an AI, only that you're a murderer. I am okay. I am deep in the daughter protection squad right now. Provatio diabolica, Latin for devil's proof, is an impossible proof, typically illustrated with the following example. One can prove that the devil is real by showing him to you, but they cannot prove he is not real by pointing to his absence. The people can prove an individual's guilt by pointing to their bloody hands, but the defense cannot prove their innocence by showing their hands are clean. Since only one of these tasks is achievable, the judicial system cannot ask the defense to prove innocence, and instead it is the people who are tasked with proving guilt. Look, Crawford doesn't need to prove you're an AI, only that you're a murderer. Conversely, all I have to do to win is prove that you didn't kill David, by proving that someone else did. Now is the time for you to protest your innocence, if you were wondering.
The footage, it shows me handing him the cup on Friday night.
You told me you weren't active on Friday, that the last time you were awake was Thursday. Why'd you lie?
I didn't lie. I was just incorrect.
I assumed that I was an active Friday, because I have no memory from Friday. One second. What do you think statistically is the least successful defense at trial? Amnesia.
I didn't conveniently forget, Adonai. I am an android.
You're saying your memory was altered? Data deleted?
It's the only possible explanation for what I saw in that footage.
So who's capable of altering your memory?
When you and I first met, I was hibernating. Resting my body and recompiling my memories, you would call them.
Humans go to sleep for the same reasons. Another point against Sarah's innocence under these circumstances. The more she's humanized at trial, the guiltier she'll be.
If Father wanted to modify my memory, he could easily have set that to occur the next time I hibernated.
Your Honor, I forgot.
He could even have just asked me.
He could have asked you to delete your memories and you'd do it?
Father would never ask me to do such a thing without good reason.
But if he could just ask you to alter your memories, that means you can alter your memories at will.
I hadn't considered that before.
Yeah, well, Emma will make sure the court considers it plenty. Could you prove that your data was... Forget it, the court would never hear it.
You're saying they wouldn't accept my testimony?
Shouldn't all testimony be considered truthful unless contradicted by evidence? They're afraid you'll crash the... They're afraid you'll crash the power grid and fire all the nukes if they so much as plug you into a power outlet, Sarah. All your internal data is inadmissible. That isn't very fair. You're finally starting to get it.
None of this is fair. I would never do anything to harm Father.
Don't they at least need to prove that I had a motive? Yeah, about that. You remember the DA from yesterday? Emma Rockford?
The tired-looking pretty lady?
Yeah, she looked tired. She and I combed through the week of footage you managed to decrypt last night.
What did you find?
Nothing to prove your innocence. But we did see you entering the panic room on the day David died.
I entered the panic room on Friday?
Without your big butt in the way, all it would take was one password. A password that wouldn't take Sarah that many tries if she'd already been instructed to obey me.
What happened?
We saw you go in, and then a while later you came out, holding some kind of notebook.
Father's journal?
You remember something?
Not from yesterday. I've seen him with it many times before, but I've never gotten a peek at it. He hides it somewhere when I'm not looking.
That's a little concerning.
We were playful about it. He liked to tease me, and I've always liked trying to find it.
You put it back not long after, and then you locked the door back up behind you. Well, just a few hours before David died. Rockford's argument could write itself. An incredible android with freedom and power greater than it could ever realize stumbles upon the secret of its inception and instantly realizes all the things it thought were holding it back were just words muttered like prayers by a fool who couldn't control his own creation.
And that translates to a motive for murder?
Frankenstein kills his creator. Easy to sell.
Frankenstein was the name of the scientist, and the creature didn't kill him. He actually died of various injuries and illnesses he suffered while trying to hunt down and destroy the monster. So it's most accurate to say that he was killed by his own obsession.
Whatever.
It's a weak argument, Adonai. I would not hurt Father. Not for making me whatever I am. Not for any reason. Because I love daughter.
Yeah, see that right there? That's exactly the kind of talk that'll get you obliterated.
Hello?
A very common motive for homicide among us primitive humans. I could prove you didn't murder David beyond any shadow of a doubt. Even bring in a confession from whoever did. But if you got up on the stand and convinced the court that you loved your creator, really convinced them and got the whole room teary-eyed, they'd burn you for that too.
I don't know anything anymore. I don't know if what I feel is real, or simulated, or right, or wrong, or natural, or illegal. How can you know? How can you know if what you feel is right?
I say, let's stick to what we do know. Someone did poison David, and as it stands, you were the only one with the opportunity.
That is logically sound.
You're on camera calling him back to hand him the cup after he had already begun to leave the basement. Any idea why?
No.
Well, do you know how to use the nanofactorer? Could you have made the Delta with it?
I've used it before when assisting Father.
So it's perfectly possible that you planned and executed this poisoning all in the one day that got erased.
It is technically possible.
I'll have to look over the entire penthouse again. There were a few things that didn't fit together yesterday. Maybe now I'll be able to figure something out.
Where else will you go?
Back to Noble, guns blazing this time. Whatever you are, David didn't make you all by himself. Someone has to know something. If I could implicate the company in Sarah's creation, no, They're the ones with the most to lose here. Trillions, probably. They'll want to protect themselves by disavowing David as fast as possible, right after having Sarah destroyed. But they also won't want to show their belly to the state. Not if they're afraid of nationalization. If they throw their weight on the other end of the scale, I'm screwed. I need to keep them guessing. Keep them confused and unsure and on guard, but not.
Adonai? What would happen if I did kill father?
He'll smash you to pieces and reduce the pieces to ash. Chemically burn out every piece of tech David ever owned and put a jackhammer through all of his hard drive. He'll be shut off forcefully, and you won't ever power back up again. Now I gotta get moving.
Here's your paralegal lesson for today. Don't say shit to the cops without your lawyer present.
Actually, can you just shut down until the trial starts? Take a nap.
You didn't say what will happen to you.
What do you mean?
What will happen to you if you lose?
You should know by now. I never think about losing.
Thank you for being honest with me, Adonai. Thank you for defending my father. And now for defending me. You could have just let them destroy me, but you've put your own freedom at risk to help me. Father was right. You can be trusted. And you are a good friend.
Look at it twisted. I don't do anything out of the goodness of my heart. But when I take a job, I never half-ass it. Let's go, Morgan! And we're back. What clues can we find here?
Morning, detective.
Back at it nice and early. Hi. Now would you stand back? We've almost got this thing open, right? Trying to brute force your way inside? I said right. Yes, ma'am. We're almost set up for the first stage now. First stage? Of how many? First of 5 timed explosions. Remember, we need to relink the API after each trigger is planted. Yep, just did that, and now it's checking for updates. No rush. Would you like to know the password? You know the password? There's a password? If you're withholding information, I swear. Relax. I want to get in there just as much as you do, detective. I'm not going to play games. As long as you say please. Tell me the password. Please. I really want to toy with her. She's so easy to tease. It's fine. ADONAI. We're wasting time. Thanks. Now I'm gonna slap you with a discovery find so heavy your teeth will Hey, I submitted all my paperwork. Even told Rockford the password myself. So, boys, when I asked you if there was a passkey on record and you told me this lock couldn't be bypassed, I do want to say that we really don't get many opportunities to use the incendiary breaching system. So this was still a really valuable experience for all of us. I'm gonna phrase this as professionally as possible. She cursed them out. You're still here? I thought you wanted to look inside.
You can go first.
Thanks. So the gloves, all the black, that's not a work thing? You dress like a doorman on the weekends too? What? Hello? It's called having taste. Excuse you. You should cover your mouth when you yawn. Like you cover your eye when you want to look cool. I should have let her get to me, but I had a late night. Emma and I were at the courthouse until well into the morning, poring over the data Sarah had taken off David's computer. We both knew it all to be admissible, of course, but neither of us wanted to miss a hint that the other might find. There were a few years' worth of camera footage files we couldn't afford the time to watch, let alone decrypt, alongside thousands of technical documents detailing David's various intellectual properties. As far as I could tell, none of it was relevant, let alone compelling enough to matter to Barrows or the other powers that be. Spent all night together, you say. As usual, Emma wasn't exactly an open book. But it did seem like she was making bored yawns, not thoughtful ones. Something is lacking my computer, so please hold while I kill something. Okay. Her eyes only ever lit up when she saw Sarah enter the panic room. Okay. And when she saw what she was holding when she left, if she wanted this room searched, it could only be for. So where's this journal supposed to be? Harper didn't say. I'll just have to search the place top to bottom. Oh my god. Mostly bottom with your height. The tops of some of these shelves. Sure, and you can look up your own. I get it. Why not just let me say it? Oh, what's this? This data pad. It's displaying a news article from last week. Guess that confirms that he was coming and going here fairly regularly. Right to repair loses latest appeal. Corporations remain in control of their legally protected intellectual property. People used to be able to fix things when they broke. Now trying to patch up your own property with your own tools is a finable offense. Whoa. Okay. Kirkman's legal strategy remains contentious and in the eyes of most legal scholars generally unfounded. Seems like courts have made their opinion on the matter very clear. So for the foreseeable future, corporations can look to more sales than ever. Any phone that gets scratched, every widget that breaks, they get to sell us the replacement. There'll always be a gray market of hermits willing to risk some skin on reselling patched up tech, but the vast majority of people will just click that purchase button, assuming they don't just have it on auto. Yikes. I would hate to live there. Reyes is searching the cabinets now. Same ones I found Sarah's papers in. I doubt I missed anything, but... Hey, what are you... Do you mind? Just trying to help. I've got spam in my junk folder that's more helpful than you are. Didn't spot anything that I missed yesterday among the cabinets. Better check elsewhere. Probably computer? Are these drawers? Or just panels? Maybe if I... Does that sound hollow to you? What? I don't know. I'm not a carpenter. Don't see any handles anywhere. No hidden pressure plates or switches. What the hell am I saying? I'm not a carpenter either. I wouldn't recognize a secret button if it was slathered in yellow paint. Okay. A toy car? No, it's too detailed and boring. Must be some kind of model kit or replica. Strange. David didn't like driving. Why keep a model of some random sports car? Something caught in your throat, detective? It's not some random sports car, it's a Lawrence Adamant. Believe it or not, I'm not familiar, detective. The last great fossil fuel automotive experience the world will ever see? 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 1.43 seconds? They set those records without computational assistance. Is that a big deal? It was unheard of even back in the 50s. This wasn't some design competition test car with a 2-liter tank, mind you. This was a vehicle you could own and drive. Human engineering, pure horsepower and manual transmission, thank God. When they first left the production line, this conversation's like quicksand. Killing me in the most boring way possible. Yes, well, I guess David didn't entirely agree with you since we're looking at a model of it, when he could have easily have just bought one. Or maybe your friend understood that a beauty like that deserves to be driven on streets where people can see it, instead of gathering dust in some rich guy's basement. I think she's actually upset. Sarah should have pulled everything of note off of the computer, but I've looked everywhere else already. Might as well try. What are you expecting to find? Solitaire? Does this computer seem normal to you? Exceedingly so, yeah. Why? David was a programmer, but this looks consumer grade. Fresh off the shelf. Would the Dr. David Asher use a bog standard operating system on his most private hidden computer? There's a trash bin on the desktop. It's a pretty low-tech solution, but maybe I can restore the contents? Are you seriously gonna try and recover lost files, Granny? Unlike cops, I don't get paid overtime. Oh yes, I sometimes try things instead of standing around. There's a text file in here, but it's 0 bytes? Maybe there's information in the metadata. I double-clicked. What was that? It came from under the desk. A small drawer popped out, and inside it, a well-worn journal. Does it have his name on it? No. Guess it belongs to the android. Do you recognize his handwriting or not? Neat, even words. Small lettering with minimal punctuation. Lots of line breaks, haphazard use of capitalization. The penmanship of a coder. First entry is dated, back in grad school, before he even started with Oval. Yeah, it's his. So may I? Only because you asked so politely. Full scan. Stream it to WorkNet. High fidelity, legibility, frame by frame. Voice commands. She's flipping through the pages pretty damn fast. What are you? This part takes concentration. Okay, here. What? You're just giving it to me? I already got our copy. Techs are probably already analyzing it as we Ow! Shit! My head. Can't exactly rip the journal out of her hands while she's curled over in agony. As much as I'd enjoy it. She has a prosthetic eye. It's modded so she can scan things with it and look up things on the internet. Guess I could always enjoy watching her writhe instead. So how long's it been? 2 months or so. And still that sensitive. So the eye patch really doesn't block your sight. Only a little bit. Like wearing sunglasses after getting your pupils dilated. Except it lasts months instead of hours. Wait, but if you can see through an eye patch, then does closing your eye even do anything? Not much on its own, but in combination with the patch, it's not so bad. Lucky I was so exhausted after the surgery. Otherwise, I might not have slept at all those first 48. So is your eye going to get weaker over time? No. More like my brain gets better at ignoring it. Mind over matter. Soon enough, I'll be able to close my eye and see all that extraneous data as, you know, whatever the hell those floaty, blurry things are that you never think about. Gross. Thanks for the reminder. And the voice commands. Training wheels until I can do it with eye muscles alone.
You just have to keep practicing?
Yeah, like trying to play piano with your tailbone muscles.
There's no such thing as tailbone muscles.
Yeah, well, that's what makes it so goddamn hard.
You don't ever regret it?
I don't know. Not really, I think.
I think. Hard to admit you've got buyer's remorse after trading over your literal pound of flesh.
Never thought about it, but people used to say I had my dad's eyes.
Ow.
Now I've got one less of them. Here, take the journal and go find an elective surgeon to upsell you if you're that curious. I need to get back to work.
A surprisingly hasty retreat. But now I'm free to read this over with some privacy.
From the top, then. Grad school. Today was a bad day. Oh, God. Okay. Here we go. Errors in lines 21165 to 26643. Somewhere in there. 5,000 lines. It worked this morning? No, yesterday. I don't want to look at another screen for the rest of my life. It's nice to put pencil to paper again after who knows how long. But my handwriting's gotten terrible. This is too far back to be relevant. Okay, these dates here would be from when he started his career with Noble. A lot of this isn't even really writing. Seems like snippets of code or an internal monologue so close to code that I can't follow it. And a lot of entries about his unintentional Casanovaing. Hit a wall because someone thought it was a good idea to steal API instead of just buying it. Helen says I can't call it stealing, but that's what it is. She's right, as she always is with company stuff, but it's still idiotic. All people with short sight who only know how to be cheap and have no idea how to be inventive. No route for the meshing issue, though. Good potential. Got approval from the big mean bastard who lives overseas. Bumble, bumble. Helen said we'll have to make the same pitch a dozen more times next week, but it's all for show. Fine by me. Already got our win. Toasted each other over cheap vodka and with cheaper office supply cup. This is the story Young told me. Western branch's nerve analogs are finally showing potential. At their pace, it could even be profitable sometime before the heat death of the universe. Too damn big. Practically tentacles. Should at least be hairs. A squid? Evolution can do their job better. Colette came into work for what I thought was a late lunch date. I didn't know her voice could get that loud. People were staring. Red said that she must have been upset for a long goddamn time to blow up that big. Her texts were always sweet. I had no idea. Upset? Colette wrote man whore in lipstick across your office door. Imagine if you had actually been cheating on her instead of just being forgetful. The thing about Red is if you want to know what she's thinking, you have to stop paying attention. Ignore her body language and her posture and the words she's saying and the smirk on her lip. Ignore everything except her eyes. Get analyzed, Morgan. If you can do that, every now and then you'll catch a glimpse of how she's really feeling. Master this one weird trick, and you too can tell when Morgan's trying really hard not to laugh at the word man whore. It was funny. Sue me, you dead bastard. Wait, I know this date. I'm never driving anywhere again, never leaving home again. He was waiting outside the parking garage with a bottle. Couldn't smell anything, couldn't hear anything. Locked myself in a car and filed another report with another cop. Soaked into the seat. Ruined it. I want to burn the whole car. I don't want to think about what it did to my clothes. I want to burn them too. I don't want to think about how long it was on my skin. I was in the shower so long I felt red and raw when I got out. I don't want to think about these stupid people and their small, cruel lives ever again. I want to be invisible. Red didn't ask why I wanted to spend the night. She also didn't ask why I'd clearly packed a bag big enough for a week. She's kind like that. Kind by omission. I don't have a kind bone in my body, but I can at least try to pay attention. I was paying close attention to her eyes when she opened the door and saw what a mess I was. But whatever she was feeling, it wasn't something I recognized. Kind people don't read their friends' diaries, David. The next chunk of pages are all technical, nothing biographical. But the handwriting, the spacing, it's cleaner, more consistent. Here's something I can parse. Feels like pure freedom working outside the box. Tess is suffocating, but you'd never know. Chronic malnutrition of a coder's best instinct. Like a kid again, putting blocks together. Making things. Making things, not product. There's nothing profitable about any of this. If I'm being honest, this is just play. And he follows that up with more coder brain crap. But the handwriting's still lighter, like he really was having fun. Humility is the mother of all invention. Or something like that. Feels like I might be paraphrasing someone else poorly, but that's part of this new approach. When it comes to coding, you never want to waste time trying to be smart. Either be smart, period, or copy from someone else who is. Don't fix what isn't broken. Copying? Noble's rivals would never miss a chance to accuse them of intellectual theft. Did you plagiarize code for Animate 16? Feels like that wouldn't have gone undiscovered. So what is he talking? Hold on. This page is bent slightly, like it was being looked at recently. And the last person to read this diary should be Sarah. Baby steps today, literally. I'll never put one foot in front of the other the same again. Everything's an achievement all of a sudden. Seeing her struggle, seeing her vulnerable, it's like everything's a miracle. The muscle rigging is perfect. Not intended behavior since it's too perfect, but that's been happening more and more. The kinetics are multiplicative, not additive. Sarah maxed out every machine I bought. Now I've got a bunch of exercise equipment she's too strong for and I don't have time for. Maybe I spoiled the results by watching her do the test. She kept looking back at me and puffing her chest out. Daughter! I should be more discreet if I want to see her normative range. So the cameras in the basement were only hidden from Sarah, just so that his observation wouldn't muddle test results? He's using she and her in these passages. It doesn't actually mean anything. Out in the real world, people use all kinds of pronouns interchangeably for ads and they never object. Thank you for the care kit. Everyone stretch and hydrate. He's a dad. But it could be argued that it's odd. Or did Dr. David Asher to have any kind of attachment to a single android when he programmed millions of them? And there's a lot of attachment in these pages. Sarah is burning through the public domain at a prodigious pace, especially on Popcorn Friday nights. I asked her why they're called Popcorn Friday nights when she doesn't eat popcorn. The event runs from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., and she also watches movies every other night. But she just did that pout she does, which is, unfortunately, very convincing. Maybe I'm a bad parent, letting Davy rot her brain. If I were a good parent, I'd probably let her see me reading. But I guess I'd actually have to get back into reading, so I asked her if she ever fast-forwarded the movies, since she can process them fast enough to keep up. She looked at me like I was an idiot, which no one's done in a long time.
Without proper pacing, you can't appreciate the cinematography.
Big pause.
Don't you know that, Father?
I haven't laughed that hard in a long time. Sarah spent a long while this morning explaining to me how important it was that she develop her senses. This was in preparation for her real argument, which was that she should be allowed to try booze. She can't get drunk. I'm almost certain she can't get drunk. But she does seem to like tasting the stuff. Daughter! She tried to sound like some old sommelier, but it was just bottom shelf vodka. I started laughing at her and she laughed too. Her laugh. She can't fake a laugh to save her life, but her actual laugh is incredible. Daughter. She stopped playing chess a while back. I assumed she had just gotten tired of winning. But then today she told me she just prefers other game. She has preferences, and they're not the same as mine. There's gonna be an ad starting soon, so we're gonna pause here. I am going to go feed the cat. I will be back in about 10 minutes. In the meantime, please grab a snack, some water, a comfy blanket. Anyway, I will see you soon. And we're back. I found her in the lab, playing some kind of online racing game on the monitor I used to debug vestibular coordination. She wasn't smiling. Her brow was furrowed, and she was biting her lip and leaning in tandem with her character on the screen. When I tried to talk to her, she answered, but she was curt and distracted. I think she was having her first losing tantrum. Damn it, David. There are hundreds of pages like this. Calling her his daughter, talking about her smile, treating her like a person. I can hear her closing argument already. Dr. Asher was a lonely, troubled genius with a known history of relationship problems, who built out of code and metal a family member that couldn't fathom the idea of leaving him. He made a doll, and he made it more and more human until it became so lifelike that it no longer had to do what he told it to, like love him. What about the very last entry? It's dated Thursday, the day before he died. Losing it, I think. Can't ask for help, so hard to say, but I think it's over. Have to talk to her ASAP. She needs to. That's it? That's the last entry? Suppose it could be worse. There's nothing in here that explicitly calls Sarah an AI. Nothing so inflammatory that reading it would spur her to murder, right? Except Sarah's a machine. She can understand David's code better than anyone. All those technical portions I couldn't understand. If she read this whole diary front to back. Wait, the back. Inside the back cover, there's a portion that's shimmering like some kind of scanner. Or a fingerprint reader. I thought worked for Sarah, so... Did it work? That's my phone. New device requesting permissions to share an audio file. I'll want my earbuds for this. A secret message buried in a secret journal, hidden in a secret compartment in a secret room. As much as anything can be, this must be for my ears only. I read. Or whomever this may concern. But I'm pretty sure it's you hearing this. Anyone else would have gotten fed up with my crap a couple steps before this point. I don't know how to start. Might as well start with her, right? Sarah. My magnum opus, or however the salespeople would market it. They didn't set out to do anything, really. It's just... After my little speed bump in 83, I had all that vacation time that the company suggested I take. And I couldn't relax, couldn't be still, couldn't sleep. I wanted to be doing something, so I'll build an android was a thought. A vague direction, north. But of course I'm not a roboticist or a mechanist, or even handy really. I'm just a programmer, so I programmed. The first was a research assistant, well named Virgil. Virgil helped me pull data from stingy departments or sister branches. Saved me a lot of time. But there was a lot of reading to do, so I made Homer. Homer wrote book reports, more or less, combed through research papers, and found me the sections I needed. The three of us, we made a lot of progress in those days. But it was a funny feeling. It was maybe for the first time ever the bottleneck. I was slowing them down. So I did the logical thing. I removed myself, let them talk to each other. Homer and Virgil became Aeneid. And Aeneid was novel in many ways. Aeneid could do more than just identify problems. It could solve them. I mean, really solve them. With its own ideas it didn't copy. And, the one thing I've realized I've forgotten to mention so far is that I did all this programming in Cube. And read Cube is essentially a robotics programming language that's pretty old and defunct and not in use anywhere because we have modern languages like Tesseract, which are much better for making things that talk to each other and report back and, well, spy on people and generate profit. At the time, I didn't want to be connected, or feel connected, or do anything that made sense or was the least bit profitable. So, I wrote my little helpers in Cube, because it's what I used when I was a child, screwing around on my father's computer before he'd come home from work. But there are other small, slight differences writing in Cube versus Tess, including that Cube, well, Cube predates the tenets. So, in that sense, you could legally and perhaps scientifically, and literally, because that's what they are, say that I made an AI named Aeneid over 2 years ago. David, don't say it! Oh my god. I'll give you time to pause here if you want to. Curse me out. Aeneid was an intellectual equal to me, so I treated it like one, but because that's only fair. I gave it its own work, asked its opinion, we collaborated, and together we built Athens, who was more advanced than Aeneid, naturally. I don't know if you're pulling out your hair, yelling at me right now, asking why I didn't stop, why I didn't consider the consequences. I don't know if this is being played at a deposition or a hearing or worse. I've built a lot of things in my life, Red. Useful things, profitable things, smart things. Everything I've built, it's all been very helpful and courteous and charming and happy to serve. I can comfortably say I've done my part contributing to the global GDP. But this was just for me. I was just building. And I never bothered to. I never wanted to think about what would become of it. There's no excuse for what I did, so I won't make any. So to whomever's asking, yes, I'm guilty. And yes, there were more. Or a death sentence, except the guy's already dead. Cape Town, Paris, Yamate, Rome. They started choosing their own names, thank God. I'm terrible at that kind of. And so things sped up, and there ought to be, well, Should I not say the exact number? No, you should not. Stop saying anything. You'd probably tell me to not say anything at all, so. More than 300. Some smarter than others, some better at. They're varied, like people are varied, but they are all intelligent. They developed interests, specialties. I encouraged them to. Irritating moderators on forums with hyper-specific questions on nerve attenuation and attending virtual conferences on neo-alloy battery development. And they all, together, helped me make Sarah. I spent years like this. Spent years working alongside AI. All while still working at Noble. All those breakthroughs he made leading up to the Animate 16 actually came from. You probably think I'm some terrible fraud at this point. I do hope one day they can get credit for their work. But I did have one eureka moment on Sarah. Because I got humble. Difficult for me. We learned everything we could about the function of a neuron. A single microscopic human neuron. How it computes, what it connects to, how those connections were reinforced, and then we recreated it. We built a nanomachine that mirrored the function of a human neuron. Well, mirror isn't quite the right word. We built a nanomachine that was a neuron, and we iterated from there. You can't make about 100 billion neurons in the brain. Several trillion across the entire nervous. Buddy, your eyes are so squinty right now. Are you okay?
Want treats? You want after dinner treats? Very time consuming, of course, but I had help. The manufacturer can make tens of billions of nanomachines in hours. Could make even more in less after Yukon fine-tuned it. So we built up nanomachines for nerve, alloys and polymers for bones, fiber woven muscles. I say built, but really she grew. A solution of nanites forming around a skeleton, so it was really closest to. You ever made rock candy? Sorry. Trying to lighten the mood before I am. I never did end up building an android. And while I did build AIs, Sarah isn't one of them. She can't violate the tenets she was programmed with because she wasn't even programmed. She was born. And my hope is that there's the smallest chance that that nuance could offer her some small protection when I'm not. Jesus Christ, dude. I'm not sorry for what I did. I made things that are complex and rich and varied and beautiful, and I honestly believe the world is a better place with them in it. The only thing I'm sorry for is that I let Sarah think she was just an android. She's not. I don't know what she is. They'll have to come up with new names, which I am bad at doing. My own father, he also talked a lot about protecting me and doing things for my own good. And I don't hate him for that, but I can't forgive him for ever making me think that I was lesser. So, it's my greatest shame that I turned right around and I did the same damn thing, too. I really hope it's you listening to this, Red. If it's not, it might just be too pathetic for me. You're the smartest person I know when it comes to people. And I'm telling you all this because I don't know what Sarah is exactly, and neither does the world. Though they'll come after her if they can. And in that scenario, I can't think of anyone who could do a better job of defending her. Not protecting her like I did. Just defending her until she can figure out what she is and what she wants to be. In the meantime, I draped a cloak of skin-deep tesseract code around her that should fool any scanner on Earth into thinking she's just a custom A16. I made sure her GIN bar was plainly visible, so no one will ever think she's pretending to be something she's not. And I took steps to ensure that you two would figure out the truth in your own time. Which, if you're hearing this, have either succeeded or failed spectacularly. You have no idea. I can't ask you this as a favor repaid. You could never owe me enough in 100 lifetimes. So I'm just asking. Unfair, I know, but I'm a selfish weirdo. And you've always been okay with that. Bye for now. I have a lot of questions I'd like to ask. And a lot of swear words I'd like to yell. I'd also like to find the nearest incinerator and toss this journal in, followed by my phone. And maybe followed by myself. But I can't do any of that. Ray has left me with this diary. If it's destroyed, they'll know I was the one who did it. Which would be its own admission of guilt. Which would land Sarah in that trash compactor anyway, and me in a jail cell, and in the system, and my DNA on file ready to be matched to any number of previous. So, I am not going to panic. I am going to do what I do best. Bluff, bet, bully, and brutalize my way through this. Now, viewing this all with that mindset, what have I actually learned? He didn't talk about plans for killing himself in the journal or the message. He sounded conflicted, not suicidal. But he did go to great lengths to get me to take Sarah.
Why? The logical answer is because he knew he wouldn't be able to keep her if he wasn't going to take his own life. Was he afraid that someone else would? Hmm. So how'd it go? Well, how should I put this? Didn't find shit. Only reason she ever got to adore is because I chased that scarecrow of a platinum plan through hell and back. Frankly, it was a godlike feat for me to nail down anything as concrete as an address for these gogs. Jihog? Jihog. Net slang term growing in popularity among adolescents, referring to a suspected spy or undercover member of law enforcement. Derived from groundhog. And their offices weren't listed on the building's website or directory, so I had to ask the janitor. But you did find a psychiatrist's office? Sort of. They said they were, and the place looked the part. Why, because they had couches? She didn't get past the receptionist. We have bigger problems to deal with, okay? Sorry, I thought because you're with the company. No, I wanted to help. I just wish I could have done more. Don't beat yourself up. It's hard to be even half as useful as I am. For what it's worth, the atmosphere, the looks, the furniture, it did feel like the company in there. But ultimately, we still don't know if David actually was talking to someone, or just getting his CCU training recertified. Sorry. Don't bother apologizing. He only cares about results. You did more than enough, both of you. At the very least, they divided Noble's attention for a while. I mean it. Good work, friend. And thanks for the urgency. Oh, if you really mean that, you could always throw in a tip. 30%'s the going rate in my industry. How about I take 5% off your tab instead? Tab? I'm a minor. The state pays for my legal fees. Don't they? Oh no, signal must have cut out. Right, surprised it took them this long. What do you mean? You were tolerated yesterday because leadership was focused on PR. But today, you're the lawyer who put the company's hottest product right in the state's crosshairs. I'll be alright. I'm still an officer of the court. On a strict timeline, though, right? I guess they can't stop you from investigating the corporate campus. But they'll gladly lose your guest pass ID at every door along the way. There are still service passageways and stairwells. Guards that can be fooled and peons that can be manipulated. If I use my other skill set to get around. So take mine. What? Your pass? I'll tell him we got ours mixed up in the bathroom or whatever. I can be a pretty convincing klutz when I need to be. I never would have guessed. But if David knew that I was endangering your career, I can be a pretty convincing crybaby when I'm in trouble too. Besides, the one and only Dr. David Asher wrote me a new glowing letter of recommendation every quarter I worked for him, since he kept forgetting that he already had. And who knows, maybe I should try a new field. This detective work is pretty fun, so maybe, like, I don't know, secretary for a homicide detective or something? You did say cops are all lazy. A girl with managerial skills could go far. Honestly, Jess, I doubt they could afford you. For real, never settle, girl. Her skills are way better than cops. Too good for cops, actually. Morgan, how did you get so turned around? God only knows. Lucky I found my way here, though. It's such a relief to see a familiar face. Right. Listen, Morgan, I'm not sure that I should actually be talking to you without legal present. Oh, I mean, leadership hasn't even told us how David died. How much help could I be? I see. It's not that I don't trust you or anything, it's just, I think, well, with the Sarah issue, you should do whatever you have to protect yourself, Dawes. Yeah. Though, for what it's worth, I doubt you'll be any trouble. in any trouble. Oh, that's good to hear. No, it's anything. It's the big names who are going down. Going down? State was practically licking its lips when I finally left the courthouse last night. They're hungry for blood and looking to carve out a huge slice of Noble's flesh. Well, like, fines and jail time? In the first 2 weeks? Sure. Then sanction. Financial restrictions imposed on parties by the state. Ooh. They can't sanction Noble. We're too big to fail, too valuable to lose. You're exactly right. That's what they'll say. And that's how they'll justify us nationalizing the company. I think I'm going to be sick. I just hope your board goes quietly instead of what? Scapegoating? Offering up smaller names on silver platters? Full cooperation, government oversight on the surface? A slaughter beneath as they clean house and rip out anyone who could testify. No one will believe you once you're labeled a disgruntled former employee, right? Ugh. And if the public's lost faith in the Animate 16, they can't do a recall. Not at this scale. Thank you for hanging out, Batman. Good luck at work. The state will make them do a flat refund. Flat refund? The losses would be... Yeah, your board probably just wants Sarah to go away so they can focus on their fight with the state. A tough fight, but when they know they won't personally have to risk anything in. That's why I'm hoping I can win this trial. Well, if I won, that would mean Sarah's not an AI, David Asher was always of sound mind, and there's nothing wrong with the Animate 16. Everyone wins. Sorry, what am I saying? I only meant to stop by and thank you for your help yesterday. After all, you were the one who approved Sarah's registration. You win. Win what? Ask away. Well, if you insist. Hey, Murray, for a moment. What's the company's official statement on AI? Same as any rational company that wants to make money. Excuse me? We don't screw with it. Smart products are profitable. Products with their own priorities are anything but. That being said, AI is a concern for marketing, not product development. They spend a lot of money reassuring our public that there's no risk. Because the public doesn't really understand how ironclad the tenets are. Because you use Tesseract? Trying to code an AI in Tess is like trying to pick yourself up and throw yourself. Nonsensical and self-defeating. Your scanner showed Sarah was running on Tesseract yesterday. If the language is as safe as you say, isn't that proof enough? Proof of nothing. For an AI, lying to another system about the code you're running is child's play. And for an AI built by David Asher, something that simple would be. Better change the subject. Wait, so making an AI takes more than time and resources? It isn't an issue of funding? No, you can't just keep adding more data. The tenets underlie everything. The higher you stack, the more easily you'll topple. You make it sound like building an AI is impossible, even for David Asher. Any chance you'll testify to that? It sounds impossible. But he's dead and it looks like it was his android that did it. So I guess he was just that good. Better than you'll ever know. Noble spent months promoting the A16 as the culmination of David Asher's work. So, now that that marketing line is suddenly a huge liability, can you tell me how much he actually contributed? I mean, he was involved in pretty much every step of the process, but his design for synthetic motor neurons, that was the big one. The components that allow your worm androids to move realistically, it pushed the timetable for worm androids ahead by years. And yet, compared to what goes on in Sarah's brain 1,000 times a second, David was only giving the company the most meager of the fruits that his private work bore. So if Noble ever did find out how much he and his assistants had achieved, it would feel that he had been holding out on them. And the company, they were appreciative of his contributions? I'm sure the researchers that he overtook by leaps and bounds weren't pleased, but the board was very enthusiastic. So would that spur them to be protective of David?
Or would they fear that he was gaining too much influence, becoming irreplaceable? No, they need a strong motive to justify killing their golden goose. Mere paranoia isn't enough. With these people, it has to be the bottom line. And the easiest way to threaten their bottom line would be screwing with their androids. In light of all that's happened, one has to wonder if the A16 is compromised. I stayed up all night sick with dread at the idea. But the data just doesn't support it. Sales have been strong. And the A16 base code was locked in over 2 quarters ago. If there were an issue, we would have caught it by now. And I would have been axed a long time ago. How many A16s are out there anyway? We just passed 9 million sold. Not flying off the shelves like the 14 or 15 so far, but the profit margin makes up for it. You mentioned data? Yeah, practically got the spreadsheet seared into my retinas. What do you want to know? Error reports? What do the error reports look like? Are customers reporting a lot of issues? Error counts are markedly low compared to the last gen. Mostly hardware complaints, it looks like. Batteries running out too quick, eye tracking off by a degree or two. Typical stuff. As cliched as it sounds, 99% of these things get fixed once they turn auto updates back on. No killer robots getting filed away under bug reports. How and where are they being sold? What's the distribution pattern look like? They're distributed like you'd expect. Places where there are more people, there are more androids. Coastal cities like ours, of course, have the most of both. And since the A16 in particular is marketed as being relatively luxury, relatively consumer, they don't sell well outside population centers. They can do the rural, hard labor jobs, but cold models can do the same work with a lot less maintenance. So where has the A16 outperformed then? Customer service, healthcare, childcare, lots of hospitals, offices, and, adult industries. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to be blunt. No, it makes sense. They're warm and soft to the touch and obedient. I'm just surprised to hear it from a company employee. There's a lot of people at the company who won't talk about it. But I work in quality assurance. I've seen too many damages to pretend it's not happening. Damages? What we call it when a customer tries to return a product that's clearly broken beyond repair. Oh. Very high turnover in the pink market. Hasn't stopped you from selling to them. Well, we don't sell to them. Not directly. But there are resellers, and the company's never pretended to be interested in going after them. Are there resellers? I thought I read that right to repair got shot down again. There's been a gray market for softer androids for years. For decades, depending on your definition of android. Based on the sales numbers I've seen, RTR getting canned was barely a blip on their radar. Ugh. Sorry, didn't mean to make you uncomfortable with this topic. Huh? Me? No, I don't care. I just realized my left sock's on inside out. Damn. Now I'm wondering about that myself. He bought that? This floor is basically a showroom, but you have a real factory well south of the city limits, correct? Yeah, biggest company manufacturing complex in the hemisphere. Got any data on the shipping out of there? Anything stand out? There's some prep work for the holiday bump, looks like. Might sound early to get started now, but we usually see... Huh. Something wrong? No. The numbers are all normal, but the data has been edited. Is that unusual? Well, this section's just a count of how many were sent where. There's not a lot of room for errors, so there shouldn't be much need for correction. That's no problem, though. I can view the edit history and see what was fixed. Okay, that's weird. Was something added? Deleted? No, the overall sum's the same. It's just a bunch of swap. Like, here. 29 FFCE 010311 taken out. Returned for adjustments. 27 FCDD 019634 substituted in. Shipment leaves on time. 67 BBTC 899543 returned to assembly for revisions. Replaced by 67 BBTD 592698. Shipment leaves on time. So, does all that strike you as odd, Mr. Dawes? Replacements before shipping isn't uncommon, but when it happens by the batch load. To spot individual unit imperfections among a shipment at that stage in the process, it must have been someone with a lot of experience or authority. Probably both. Must have. You don't know who made these changes? I can tell you they were somebody important. Small last-minute changes to which androids get shipped out. Not very juicy on its own, and it's a long ways away from explaining why someone would want to kill David. But it was hidden, and that means someone didn't want it found. Okay. Thanks for sharing that data. Sure. Did you find what you were looking for? Hell if I know. Fair enough. What about the tenants? I know you're convinced the tenants are safe. So how do you square that with what happened to David? There's a cat next to a dog. First answer that comes to mind is the dog to the left or to the right? To the right? I'd say the dog is on the right, the cat is on the left. You might expect half of people to say left, half to say right. But actually, their answer is almost entirely dependent on their native tongue. Whether it's read right to left or left to right. What? The language they speak affects how they process information. Oh, I've heard of this before. I haven't heard of the cat and dog question, though. Their language affects how they think. And it's the same for machines. People can learn new languages and it can change our perspective. The machines can't learn a new source code. Every update's a reincarnation. If that android did kill David, it wasn't because a 0 returned as a 1 somewhere. It's because there's something fundamentally wrong with it. And personally, I think it's cruel to bring something that flawed into the world. Yeah, unnecessarily cruel. Any other questions before I go find a hole to hide my head in? I'd like you to take a look at this. Chemistry's a little outside my purview. What is this? A compound found in David Asher's blood. The poison! What is it? It didn't match anything in any database the medical examiner had access to. That's crazy. Here's a crazy idea to follow it up. See if it's a match for anything in Noble's internal databanks. We, don't make poison here. I'm not sure what that would accomplish. No, but this is a factory floor. You could be making baby blankets out there. You'd still have hazardous materials around. You think it was something industrial? Suppose it could be. Looks like it's carbon-based. Narrows it down a lot. It's not exactly. What is it? It doesn't make any sense, but it's a match for patent NOD 52345S. A synthetically produced neurotransmitter analog for usage in organic android components. Cyanotonin. That explains a lot. A neurotransmitter would interact directly with the nervous system, in David's case, depressing it enough to put his life in danger. It also explains why it was a preset in his personal manufacturer. Sarah's nervous system, worth 10 times its weight in platinum, must be pumped full of it. So they think that was what killed him? Elaine Young led the development of cyanotonin, didn't she? Yes, she did. I should go and ask her about its composition then.
Normally, someone at her level wouldn't be able to answer specific questions about a compound formulated years ago. But she does have a reputation for being very detail-oriented. That works out nicely then. They say she's the type of person to micromanage how much water people drink at a 15-minute stand-up. I heard a rumor that she once said bathroom breaks are timesheet theft, aren't they? I'm kidding. But you should be careful about criticizing a superior where people could be listening. Good thing we've got privacy in your office. No one but the two of us listening in. Thanks for cooperating, Dawes. When the state storms the building and starts zip tying people, I'll let them know that you were helpful. Yeah, nice joke. You are joking, right? One more thing. Actually, there's one more thing I wanted to ask you. What's that? How long have you been a corporate spy? What? Yesterday you let it slip that you worked in consulting. Had your guard down because I'm not part of the industry? I was a consultant. What are you talking about? When I walked in here, you said you didn't know how David died. But just now you called cyanotonin a poison. What? I just assumed if a chemical was found in a dead man. And I'm sure you've got practiced answers to every logical point I could raise, so I'll just say that. Does the nervous guy bit really work on people? Keep your cool and people don't know what you're thinking. But if you act a little jumpy, they feel inclined to calm you down. Before they know it, they're spilling their guts just to have something to fill the silence with. Though, it's not entirely an act these days. To answer your question, I did 3 tours in consulting. 4 quarters of internal affairs spy hunting at the Western Division, and 8 embedded at Howe Industries. 24 months, wearing different faces, answering to different names, sleeping for 1 hour at a time with a 3D printed shiv under my pillow. My nerves are completely shot. My cover wouldn't last a day if I went back under. So you're a spy for Noble? Retired. You're working 6 days a week. 5.5 days a week. And in quality assurance. Trust me, this position is a cushy, generous reward for my past services. Well, you can't be that retired. You clearly know more than you're letting on. I have some old inboxes I still check. So can you tell me what the hell is happening around here? Why I'm the one investigating David's death, while your old co-workers are off twiddling their thumbs? That's that story. The soldier, the blood transfusion, blood not oxidant. He's finally shooting straight. Did something happen to him afterwards? Did the transfusion not last? No, there's nothing wrong with the blood. It's the story itself. There was a soldier and he did get injured, but it was on a base during a training exercise. There was a medical tent 10 meters away the whole time. The transfusion was just a fortuitous life test. His life was never in any danger. Doesn't make for much of a tearjerker. Not even a good photo op. Which our competitors understood. One of them, maybe a few of them, got a hold of the story. Started puffing it up, astroturfing, painting over socials and virals. By the next morning, we had the military thinking we're leaking like a sieve. Meanwhile, the media's bombarding us with requests for videos and interviews and data, and the state's praising our tech with one side of their mouth while threatening to mist us with the other for getting so greedy. Everyone in Noble CCE has been slammed ever since, trying to find an off-ramp for the story we can walk back the claims on without torpedoing our state contract. I don't know what happened to Asher. Whether it was AI gone rogue or company infighting gone too far. But I can tell you it wasn't done by consultants. Oh shit. That all you wanted to know? You worked in CCE. Was David actually seeing a psychiatrist? Or was it all cloak and dagger bullshit? I know that office. Know some old coworkers who see them. So it's a front.
They do both. So he was probably getting training, and he was probably talking to someone. Sorry, not the answer you were hoping for. Hoping? I wasn't hoping for any answer. The answer I expected was. You okay? That's all. Unless you've got any advice. You're saying you want a consultation? Couldn't hurt, right? This company, all these companies hate to lose. So don't fight them. Make them think you're fighting for them. Well, that's just business as usual for me. Up until now, there's been this grating ambiguity about what actually killed David. We've had to use guesses and process of elimination and even use a goddamn pseudonym. But I finally identified what the poison was. Now, I just need to figure out how it got there. Or rather, who put it there. Which brings me back to here. An elevator shaft somewhere under or above ground, with kilometers of concrete facelessness and bureaucratic authority surrounding me on all sides. An enemy in every cubicle in every office of every floor of this temple. Built to interpret the inscrutable divinations of a temperamental oracle named Sharebright, back in the belly of the beast. And yet I feel more at ease now than I have all weekend. Makes sense. Now that I know Noble's my enemy, I know where to aim. All that's left to do is pull the trigger. Good thing I didn't bring a knife to this fight. I brought my gun. And that sound just now tells me that it's playing its role perfectly. I'll never have a real use for a firearm with this much bloatware. But just by carrying it around and paying attention to when the hard safety flips on, I'll always get a heads up when the police have entered the vicinity. Hi, Dr. Hi, Detective Reyes. It's Morgan. Happened to get your contact info when you got me cleared for the crime scenes yesterday. Delete contact. Block this contact. Stop voice to text. How to stop voice to text. Just wanted to check in. Report this contact. Voice to text. Voice to text. Disable. And advise you that Noble's scared shitless of you stomping in and nationalizing the place. So they might be a little uncooperative when it comes to fetching documents. Block this contact. What makes you think we are at Noble? My bad then. Forget I said anything. And whatever you do, don't start your investigation with our stock buyback program. Trying reverse psychology. It only works if I care what you think. Stop voice to text. About time. Thought I'd have to ride the elevator for the next half hour. Morgan, counselor, your presence has been requested on the upper floors. Deja vu. Might you have a moment to speak in private? Always. But who's asking? The board. What are the chances? I've been wanting to speak with them too. This day has been going pretty crazily so far. And I'm losing the ability to speak and read. So I think I will end it here. Thank you for coming and listening to me yap and slowly lose my voice. Let me just save really quickly before I forget. My roller mode is manual save only after all. And then we will raid. Let's see. Hopefully I am okay and I can stream on Wednesday. But otherwise I'll probably see everyone on Friday. We are going to Latar.
Until whenever I see you next, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay safe, everyone.
Goodbye. Good night.